Welcome, everyone, to Politically High Tech with your host, Elias. I have a guest here. We could go a little different here. I'll be covering a lot of cybersecurity stuff. And trust me, some is dark, some is scary, but I don't believe in just promoting, false lies. I'd rather give you the brutal truth. Especially with the previous guests, we talk about how easy it is to just hack into devices. And once they get your device information, you're pretty much done, even if you change the passwords and all of that, which is crazy. But and then he insists the future is bright after all that. I know some of you are still spooked about that. Um, this one here, it might not be as dark, but I'm kind of bad at keeping my promises. Say it's gonna be dark, ends up being light. I say it's gonna be light, ends up being dark. So don't take me seriously when it comes to that, my listeners and viewers. So I can make this monologue pretty long, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just getting more straight into it, okay? I have a guest here who has a company that specializes in security, compliances, especially for early start on businesses. Um, and we're going to dive more into that as well because I think it's good because I think just starting a business can be possibly the hardest part of the journey. You don't know what you're doing. You don't got foundation. You don't have a lot of experiences. It could be curveballs, legal, financial, what have you. You're gonna get overwhelmed pretty easily. Shoot, I did when I officially turned this to a business. Woo, I had to learn real quick because ignorance is not blissful. I'm quoting for one guest that you're eventually gonna hear from, but yeah, as I was saying. So he's going to introduce himself to you, my listeners, and he got a company right here. I'm going to make sure I got it right. It is Cycore Secure. Okay. And he has we talk about a diverse team. Oh, he got that. He got that. So, wokesters, don't be attacking him about, oh, the team not diverse. And shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You can check the website yourself in the link in the description. Okay. Just don't do that. If you're gonna do that, at least attack the right people, not just anybody who disagrees with you feels like a personal attack. But let me shut up. Let's introduce Kevin Barona, the founder, CEO, the boss of the whole dang company.
Thanks, Elias. Appreciate that intro. Quite an intro. Um, like you might have mentioned, Cycore Secure is essentially a cybersecurity consulting firm, and we do help a lot of early stage companies as well as mid stage companies just spin up cybersecurity programs for um, these organizations. And the main reason why you might find someone needing a cybersecurity program is especially in the early stage companies, when you are just starting out, you might have some type of, you might start getting some momentum in sales. You eventually start, going up the market, and you might, eventually try to land, a big whale per se. A large enterprise customer wants your services or your product. Um, and essentially, before you do sign on to those contracts, there's a lot of requirements, especially security requirements that are necessary in order for you to just continue moving in the sales cycle. So typically when companies reach that point is when they start looking for cybersecurity services, just because, they might not have the skill set within the company. And they look for organizations like Cycore to help them just get up to speed on their cybersecurity programs and eventually speed up their sales cycles and land larger contracts. That's in a nutshell. Yes.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh well, I might dig a little deeper on that. My question I have for you is, I ask a lot of guests, what inspired dudes? You could have just done sales, make money, and say piss off to the rest of the country. I'm rich. Leave me alone. I mean,
uh, well, there's a deeper meaning for it. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to do something on my own. Never had no idea what exactly. I just remember growing up and just thinking a lot about how people make money. And I used to be so astonished by just learning, friends, parents on how they were making money, um, you know, selling hairpins, right? Like just a hairpin manufacturer and just seeing how much money they make. And that's not to say that I was after the money. I was just more intrigued by how people made money. And there was other ways other than, sitting, in a 9 to 5, working for a corporate, large organization. Um, and I wanted to challenge myself, right? I wanted to see how, there was other people who did it, right? Who went the entrepreneurial route. And, there's no doubt in my mind that, I can also take up on the challenge, as well as make an impact for others, right? Such as our team members, my family in itself. Just there's a lot of layers to it, that doesn't necessarily just relate to the money.
Of course, because this is why I've told so many people, if you just want to chase money, money will grow wings and fly away pretty easily.
Yes.
If you somehow, if you have a value magnet, then the money comes. I sadly had to learn that the hard way. I want money, that question has my personal projection to it. 'Cause I used to think like that. The past says, I just want to make money. Screw it. Don't bother me. It was the easiest way possible. Get rich quick scheme. All of that. A
Yeah.
lot of us has been there, except for you morally clean people, which don't tell me that. You're just gonna rattle me. All right. Just don't rub your moral superiority. Okay.
Yeah.
Love. He was trying to survive. It's tough out here. Okay. But anyways, enough of me try to joke in a self disparaging way. So no, you mentioned a lot of important stuff. Yeah, I think that's very inspirational because I don't hear a good amount of entrepreneurs say, oh, I'm doing this with friends, family, so I can help them out. Which that's very, that's pretty selfless. Yeah, you make a lot of money for yourself, but if you get a lot of money, I believe money is not the root of all evil. I think it is the extension of the person. The person is generally good, they will try to do good things with it. The
Yeah.
person's bad, they're gonna do bad things with it. Okay, and
Exactly.
to me, it's just that simple.
Yep.
It's an extension of a person. It reveals a person. That's why I always disagree with the money is the root of all evil. No, I'm not gonna get biblical here because it's not a type. This is not the episode for it. I could channel so many hats here, but I'm not going to. No, but that's really like a good thing, and no, so I'm gonna say it's a very, 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 very good thing. So when it comes to what kind of okay, what comes to Cycore, what kind of customers do you normally deal with? What's the average business size? Is it medium, small? I overheard you said large at one point because they have tons of requirements and normally that small businesses cannot comply just
Right.
because you don't have the manpower and the scope to do so.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it spans. It spans. But we typically work with a lot of organizations that span within 5 employees, anywhere up to 1,000. Um, it all depends on whether these companies have an internal team, a security team, or an IT team that can help in the security side of things. And that's why it varies. So, as you may know, I mean, cybersecurity is something that's been around for a while, but relatively not a while. Everything just pretty much became at the forefront, after COVID or during COVID, right, where everyone started going remote. They started realizing, right, a lot of these organizations, 5% organizations, where you would come into the office and everybody kind of knew what was going on, who was doing what, where they were. All of a sudden, these 5 people in this specific instance go back home. You really have no idea. They're taking their laptop. You have no idea if they're traveling, if they're outside of the US, if they're, connecting to Wi-Fi at Starbucks, who's looking at the screen, what type of data is available. So it made a lot of business owners anxious, right? Just thinking about, are we safe? Is there anything that can happen to us that's just going to make us um, ruin our reputation, or just have some type of incident that we're not going to be able to recover from? Not to do the fear, the fear tactic, but yeah, there's a lot. There was a lot to it on the security side of things. So it's something that's just becoming a lot more prevalent, right? Like I mentioned, a lot of these contracts have a lot of clauses in there, requirements that, hey, unless you can demonstrate this, show us evidence, we can't sign this contract with you.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we was already going virtual little by little, but with the pandemic, that
Oh yeah,
just went terrible speed.
yeah,
It forced so much businesses and a lot of workers too. I mean, I think it's safe to say almost the majority of them, except for retail and healthcare and all that. Even though they still had to use computers, but they still had to go to the site.
yep,
The essential workers,
yep,
their dynamics a little different, but they still got to use computers or computerized machines. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's so prevalent. I mean, of course, it's going to be important. I mean, I will hope so. I hope they, focus on that because we would have talked about this in 2020, even 2010s. It's like, it's okay. But now it's just, we use it so much that, of course, it's going to be prevalent. So that's good that at least there's a societal focus and emphasis on that. And especially very recently, there's a lot more massive data breaches.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost like every time you look at the news, you hear something, right? You see something. So a lot of people, they ask about when they think about cybersecurity, they're like, oh, you know, there's no way I'll get breached. I'm too small. Um, my industry, like we don't necessarily like deal with that stuff. It doesn't matter, but you know, everybody has something that's either in the cloud, in your computer, that somebody, if they get a hold of it, and especially if it falls in the wrong hands, they'll use it against you. So, if you have a customer list that has emails, addresses, um, date of birth, all these things are, sensitive information. It's private information, personal information that you have an obligation to protect. So, even the people who think like, no, there's no way, that there's nothing sensitive that I hold, a name, an email address, that's something you're pretty much, you're not obligated, but you have a responsibility, to make sure you're doing your best to protect that.
Yeah, well, I'll go a step further. I think it should. I mean, this is my personal belief. I'm going to project it to somebody that I don't think it's an obligation. It is an obligation. Especially we sign a bunch of stuff, trust them. We say, oh, we accept protect. Especially when we go through that whole long acknowledgement crap that 99.99% of us don't read, for the somewhere in there,
Right.
deeply buried all that corporate
Yeah.
language. All right. I mean that. I mean, I get a little fire. I mean, I was personally hacked twice, and
Oh,
I didn't think I had anything. So I would have been that cross. I got nothing important. Oh no, you'd be surprised. It's not always monetary. Like you say, reputation.
yes,
Reputation is another very important one
that's a
that
big one.
they would just blackmail.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point. Don't think, oh, I don't have anything valuable, not gonna hack me. No, it's not always that. Maybe they will use just your identity just to cover their tracks or do something shady, and they say, okay, we got this guy right here. They could just use you. You could be just a random person, especially with AI. As great as it is, it could also even automate or expedite the fraud process
Yes.
and bait. So, you know, people just, you're more valuable than you think. Start protecting start protecting your humble account and your reputation like it's super valuable. Just shift that mindset. Because I used to have that. Even though I set up security and all that, so I'm not gonna hack me, but I'll just do it just in case.
Yeah.
But I got hacked twice, and even though I resolved it, but it was very, very annoying. And I'm going to talk about the one that happened to me last month. I almost got hacked of $3,000. It's a good thing I was able to prevent it. Quick thinking, call someone, and I had to run to the nearest bank. It was 1 block away. With New York urgency, I run a bum rush to the crowd. Just to get to the bank, take out the money, take it out, put it back in, so that the transaction could be canceled because there'll be insufficient funds, whatever. And if I didn't do that, the outcome would have been dire. I would have permanently lost $3,000 because I was going towards cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
There is no refund on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
None.
Definitely. Definitely. And
So
and sadly, thinking about it from an individual perspective, um, a lot of older people get targeted and they fall for it. So it's when I think about it, I mean, there's definitely an opportunity in that space if you're thinking about it from a business perspective, just to somehow come up with something to protect, the older generations, just because they fall for it too easily, and that's, you know, I mean, hackers are taking advantage of that.
And yeah, especially those who want cash, they're going to target them because they generally have a lot of cash, and they're more vulnerable. Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of them even targeted my mother. It's a good thing I pick up the patterns very quickly. Said, now stop talking to this man. Let's just say, long story short, he was playing her emotions like a fiddle. I mean, he was just channeling all the right emotions. Oh no 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 no. It's a good thing none happened. I was able to prevent it, but yeah, they will target elders. Protect your elders. And I'm gonna go a step further too, because even young are getting targeted. Gen Z is getting targeted because they are a lot more online, they're a lot more plugged in, so they're pretty easy to catch. And no, I have a family member who was part of that generation that, well, I'm a millennial, but no, he got caught because of the AI mimicking his older brother close to perfectly. I saw why he got fought for it. Just give him stuff and gave the information.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
becoming scary how easy it is now, right? I mean, you used to be able to tell, right? You would get these emails from the Nigerian prince, right? Like, hey, send me this money, I need it really bad. Now you see pretty sophisticated emails, right, that you should not click on. But I would easily fall for it. Like a week ago, I had something that was sent to me, and I had to do a lot of research. I was like, I can't tell if this is real or not, and it turned out to be just one of those, malicious emails. Um, so it's just getting a lot easier for hackers, and it's we got to find a way. We got to find a way to just make sure, everybody's educated on at least looking at, the first few context clues and all that.
oh, no, I absolutely agree. And you should agree with this unless you've been living on the rock. I mean, back then, it was so easy. Without even trying, you will know it's fake. Okay? Even when you're drunk or tired, you will know it's a fake email. Okay? You would have probably a .com, a .com. What kind of email has a .com, a .com? Or two at signs, or something that just spelled so weird that you just know it's off. It was spelled in all caps. Remember those good old days when it was simpler people, simpler times? But now those fraudulent emails are polished to almost perfection. You have to look at every single character. I saw one that I almost fell for, and I was in a rush too. So when it gets you the pressure, oh, that's a good one too. It's also psychological. I saw it had two dots on the .com. Everything else was perfect. It's just, wait a minute. What's those two dots? You, I almost fell for. I was almost mad at myself. Said, I gotta calm down. Just, you gotta really take your time with emails. That's the only non-technical advice I could say. Just really scan through your email. Just not just scan, like really, really see through it. Even the from, the to, all of that, because not just the body of the email. I know a lot of us just programs to see just the from the sender, the body of the email. No, check out everything because you'd be surprised. You'll be surprised the subject and all that good stuff. It's no, yeah, no, it's really, and the emails are polished just as professional, or sometimes even a little better than a legitimate email.
Yeah.
They got the grammar down packed. I mean, sadly, there's still those stupid emails, but I don't get them because they see that I'm one of the more intelligent ones. Like I say, I consider myself mid tier. Because I know how to use tech. I don't consider myself an expert either. But there's people that's just falling for, please send this ASAP with some weird number or whatever. Um, but yeah, no, you got to be careful, people. You got to really be careful. Don't just click and just respond right away, just out of pressure. No, take your time. I don't care if that email saying, hurry up, do this ASAP. No, you take your time. Okay? Just take your time. If you're calm, you'll be able to detect some of it. Or Or some of it, I think it needs some kind of tool just to scan it because some of it are just close to perfect at this point. It's really really insane. That's why it's security is important. It's very 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 important. It's essential. This is an essential thing. Back then, this was considered luxury, of a hobby. No, it's essential. It's part of everyday life,
Okay.
except if you're Amish or a cave person. That's different. They're the only ones that are practically immune to this. But but for every other normie, yeah, including you and me and the guests, we use computers, okay? And laptops, smartphones, even anything smart is computerized. Smart refrigerator, smart TV, smart radio, whatever is just spread throughout. I mean, I could just yammer on and on and on and on, but I want to keep it focused. Eli, just focus. I go off the tangent. I could really go off the tangent because I actually love the subject. So I want to get to the compliance angle, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because to be honest, I am not the most informed person when it comes to this. This is why I'm asking you. Um, Compliance, even though I know it's important because we got to fulfill requirements. Big businesses, some of it don't achieve 100%. I get why they have large people. There's always one or two who's either rebellious or just super forgetful. And if for small businesses, they just can't because they're just too busy dealing with urgent stuff all the time. Even though they got less people, but it's much harder because they don't got, the manpower just to alternate
Yep.
and take care of important stuff. So why is it important? And also, why the heck is it so difficult to achieve 100%?
Yeah, it's important because it's essentially a standard, right? Like there's a handful of standards that relate to security, and there's no real other way of knowing, right? If you're a potential customer, right, and you want to get someone's product, there's no other way of telling them unless you create like a list yourself. Be like, hey, can you show me evidence of these 10 controls, security controls, and send it over to me and make sure that, you have evidence attached so I can see if you actually are doing something in the cybersecurity side. Um, Instead of doing something like that, all you have to do is go to your vendor, your potential vendor, just ask them specifically, hey, do you have SOC 2, which is, a framework, or do you have ISO 27001? If you do, can you show me the certification, right? For SOC 2, there's a report that's also put together, which is the end product. You can share that with your potential customer. They're able to just get a snapshot look of what your your security process, people, technology look like. So it's just a standardization, just something that's become pretty mainstream. I would say it's almost becoming commoditized at this point right now, just because everyone's asking about SOC 2 and SOC 2 and ISO and all this stuff. So it's kind of like putting like a notch on your belt, pretty much, where it's just you're pretty much demonstrating to the rest of the world, your potential customers, hey, we're the real deal. We're a organization that follows, protocol. We're open to business to everybody just because we know what we're doing here at this company. So it's also it's difficult to implement just because typically, when you start a company, you're not thinking about hiring, a security guy, right? Like the first things that you're thinking about is, all right, we got to get a bookkeeper, we got to get a sales guy, and maybe someone who's going to help me with marketing, right? Maybe I'll do the sales, or I'll do the operations. And then the security portion comes in when you're talking to a large enterprise client and you're thinking about it. You're like, well, maybe I can figure out how to do this. I don't know a thing about security, but if I read enough about it, I could probably get through this. So, it's more of educating, right, yourself if you're gonna go through it on your own, which very difficult to do, especially if you don't have, if you're not technology savvy, right, or IT savvy. So it's difficult to kind of get through it. It's not saying that you can't. It's just it's probably gonna take you 2, 3, 4 times longer, right? instead of just bringing maybe in like a freelancer, right, who does this for a living, or just an outsourced security team who can just help you get this, get these frameworks in place quickly, where you're able to generate more revenue.
Well, plugins, so Cycle right there for the outsource of all your security concerns right there. Plug it in, plug it in. That was a good opportunity for you to plug it in. And I'm all about shameless plugins. Listen,
Yeah.
listen, so there you go. Go right there. That's an easy solution right there. Don't worry, the link is going to be in the description and his social medias and all of that. We get a little more to that later when we wrap this up. But seriously, give it a shot, people. Just give it a shot. I see he definitely has a track record, so he's not a new kid in the block. Okay, yeah, just because he's young looking doesn't mean he's new in the block. He has plenty of experience. He has a team. All right, so just give it a shot. Okay, just give it a shot. All right, especially if you're having trouble with security. If you don't have someone who is just like he said, a strong background, knowledge, and working experience with it, there you go, right there. Cycle security, there you go. Inject yourself right there. All right. So, and ooh, look, security. I think they have to put it as a top, just like the operations, sales, bookkeeper, and all that. They got to put that up there. They got to put that as essential. That's like the heart, the lung, and all that. They're very important. Without that, forget it. You just forget life, okay? If you don't have those, just don't bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're too essential. You have to put it almost just the same level as a heart and a lung at this point. It's
On
just too
on
essential.
on
All
that note,
right.
yeah, that's essentially the way I'm looking at it, right? So just like how, you open an organization, you start an LLC, right? You're finding your accountant, right, who's going to help you with doing your taxes, right? Because there's certain things that you have to follow or else you get fined. You're also going to have that on the security portion, right? So like a lot of things are becoming digitized, right? A lot of products are digital. You're doing a lot of business through computers, right? Over a network and things of that nature. So a lot of states currently are passing a lot of privacy laws. The state of New York in itself, they have a privacy law. They also have a security law. Like if you want to do business with the state government, you have to follow certain types of controls, requirements, security requirements in order to even just get into the marketplace to just pitch, right? So like that is something that will eventually spread through the rest of the U.S., spread the rest of the world. If you're in a specific industry, it doesn't matter who you're selling to. You're probably going to have to get some type of audit in place, right, to demonstrate, hey, our product is safe, right? You can't be really selling products that are not safe from a security perspective, cybersecurity perspective. So um, it's going to become necessary.
Oh yeah, people. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. Okay, when it's gonna happen. Like New York and California are the two states that comes to mind where they have cybersecurity laws all that already in place. Sadly, states like I like you, don't take it the wrong way. Not call you country bumpkin. You could think that all you want. That's fine. That's your ego. That's your problem. States like Arkansas, Montana, they're not thinking as much about that. I mean, they don't mind suing, they're not thinking as much as laws to sort of, set up safeguards and standards just to do business. And,
Yeah.
even though I think North Carolina has no, not North Carolina, I'm mixing them up. North Dakota, Doug Berger has some intellect in there, but that state itself, they don't have a lot of laws based on that. Unless you want to correct me in the comment section, go right ahead. Feel free to prove me wrong. I'm not an expert here, but the ones that have the most stringent laws is definitely New York and California state
Yeah.
because they're pretty
Populous.
yeah, populist, progressive. Well, I was looking for progressive, but populist is correct too. Populist is definitely correct. Um, Texas, I gotta see if they have it or not. I'm not gonna say too much about it. I don't know about Florida. Maybe they're populist states.
Yeah,
But
Texas has something called a Tex ramp, which is um, again, if you want to do business with the government, you have to pass through this certification called TextRamp, and it's quite a pain to go through it. It takes quite some time. You have to get like a sponsor. Someone has to sponsor you. Um, and it's tough. There's a lot of money involved. So, these things aren't cheap uh, either. So, eventually it might become cheaper, but yeah, it's kind of like the wild wild west right now, right? There's a few pilot programs that you're seeing, some that work, others that are just disastrous. But um, yeah, it's very trial and error at this moment.
Interesting choice of words. Wow, wow, West on Texas.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but just make that connection right away. And, oh, that's good. Get mad all you want. It's good. It's a very good description. I mean, what's Florida? You can't put Florida with that description. Just doesn't make any sense. It's more tropical and beach, okay, and it's pretty darn urban too compared to Texas. Even though Texas got their three big cities, but
we got uh
Texas is a huge desert,
we got
and
Florida, man.
yeah. So well, what about Florida? Does Florida have any cybersecurity, or just any electronic states? No,
Yeah, so yeah, there's not much. What I do know is that there is, I might be wrong on the number, but there's about 9 states that are trying to introduce privacy laws into their state legislature. So I don't think Florida is one of them. But
well, it's a work in progress. Remember, it's a matter of when. It's not an if question. It's a matter of when. And
okay.
eventually, all 50 states are going to have their version of it. Might be something as like Alaska. I call it the winter wildland over there. All right, where it's constantly night. Okay, interesting state. I'll probably visit there once if I decide to go there. But
Not in the winter, hopefully.
oh no, no, no! I asked if I want to die. If I want to commit suicide, go, yeah, I'll go to Alaska during winter. Yeah, be like an ice cube, and it'd be and then of course going to protect my ice cube for our museum and exhibition. Look at this dumb idiot who decided to go to Alaska during below 20 degrees. This is what happens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. I won't do that, obviously. And even if you want to poll, if you say 90% want me to do that, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna override a majority. You are all morons. This is the terror majority. I'm gonna override that. That's my executive decision. They my executive privilege. I'll override that. If they ever do a poll for me just to do that just for daring, 60%, 90% of you want me to do it? No. You're crazy. Y'all evil. You're just documenting your evilness, listeners. And I'm just gonna take it as a sick joke and troll right back. But anyways, I like to have a little fun when I have these conversations. No, but they're also enlightening, just bring some value into it. So let me bounce back to the breach. I'm sure you have a good answer for this. Is there any way just to restore one's privacy after breach, or you just can't trust that company anymore? What's your thoughts on that?
Um, Typically when there's like some type of large breach, right, where it's like, not to name any companies, but something that you use that everyone uses, uh, it just means that, well, passwords have been compromised, so it's as easy as just changing your password, and then just monitoring. You know how on like Credit Karma you kind of have like this feature to just be like monitoring, if anything changes with like your social security number or whatever it is. Um, and that really depends on whether your accounts have, you have your social security number available or something like that. It's just a matter of monitoring, right? Like you can't really do much other than change the password and then just monitor just to make sure, nothing got leaked. And then, uh, not to say like it's not possible, but like chances of, if a breach happened of like 5 million people, what that means is someone has access to 5 million accounts, right? What they typically do is try to sell it on like the black market or something like that, right? And then kind of like the odds of someone picking your name and you not, you know, changing your password during that time, whatever time it took to get that in their hands. Um, don't want to say it's slim, but like it's you got to have some bad luck, man. So just make sure you hear anything on the news like that, you think about like, hey, I actually have an account there. Not sure if I was breached or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and just change my password and just keep a close eye on seeing anything weird come through.
Yeah, exactly. It's better be safe than sorry. You maybe been hacked, maybe you have, but you'd rather just change your password just in case instead of just wondering. Should I change the password? Just do it. Just change it. All right. I mean, and then to his point too, to Kevin's point, they sell it to the black market, the dark web, whatever the heck you want to call it, and then of course to get money, pay for it. This is why people are incentivized to do these bad things. There's money involved here. Okay,
Yep.
your data itself is very valuable.
Yep.
So that's all I'm gonna say about that. And disclaimer: I am not AI cybersecurity expert. I'm just someone who's just learning and trying to stay up to date. That is all. You could probably just, at best, you could say I'm an informed customer, if you want to put it like that. But otherwise, I'm definitely not an expert. Don't label me as an expert. That's like stretching it now. Even though I know some things about computers and stuff, because I had to live with that. I used it since I was 5. I mean, of course, I'm gonna know something. I don't got like degrees and all that, but I know something about that. I don't mind repeating some of these tips because some people may click this episode rather than the other one. So I don't mind a little bit of repeat because I think it's worth repeating sometimes. Sometimes repetition is necessary.
Oh yeah.
Especially when crazy things keep on happening.
Yep.
And anything else you want to add before I do the plug-in and wrap this up?
No, I mean, I'll say one thing about cybersecurity, which is pretty interesting to me. I heard it once. It was from like one of my mentors. A lot of people think about cybersecurity and they think it's very technological, right? Very tech savvy. Unless you're tech savvy, you really don't have the ability to be in that space. But there's a lot of different aspects to cybersecurity. And at the end of the day, when you're thinking about it, computers only do what humans tell them to do, right? So ultimately, what it's about the human psychology or the interaction with computers, right? So you can have the most fortified network, you can have the best tools, you can have the best vendors, the best people. But if you have that one person who leaves that password on a sticky pad on top of their laptop, one person passes by, they have a malicious intent, they see the password, they get into their laptop, it's game over. So it's about constant, like you mentioned, constant repetition, constant awareness of what's going on, and just creating a culture, right? A cyber safe culture. So there's a lot of aspects to it. I'm not technical at all. I focus a lot on governance, which is just like creating the documents, setting a process, a procedure, right? Gearing or taking someone, giving them recommendations on the type of technology they should use. Once you get into like the hacking portion of it, that's not my expertise. That's for other people. So a lot of messages there. It's just more of computers are ultimately bound by humans, at least to this point. Who knows what's going to happen with AI? But the other portion of it is if you consider a career in cybersecurity, but you don't think you're technical, there's plenty of room for outside, to do things outside of that.
That's very good. You definitely debunked my perceived notion that I thought you had to be technical. Look at that. You see, learn something new every day. No, come think of it, it makes sense. It's more like a psychological. It's a teamwork. Yeah, vigilance. I mean, we gotta have a good cycle. You gotta be good psychologically. Let's be clear. If you're a bit of a nut, or careless, even, it's like the guy just, I don't know, writing down his password, just having to, stick to the desk just because it's easier for him, but it's also easier for that malicious actor. You got to make it easy for you, but extremely difficult for the malicious actor. Don't just make it convenient for all. You might as well just say, "Here, thief, here's all my information. Just give it up." You might as well do that. if you're gonna be so nice with giving information, which I don't want you to do, by the way. Let's be clear, and I'm sure Kevin could agree with me 1,000%. Okay, that I know. He could. I don't need him to speak on that. All right. So, or what's next to you? Writing your notebook. You're just leaving it there. Or you got to be real careful. And if you're gonna have that, if you're gonna insist on having the paper, you better carry that paper with you or have it locked up or something. If you insist on paper, if you're gonna have it locked, that's something of advice. Oh, I like it on paper. Well, have it locked up. Don't have it out in the open for everyone to see because it's not public information, and it shouldn't be. All right.
Exactly.
And like I said, governance, documentation, all that. That's also very important. I don't normally think about that. I just think of it as mundane work, but it's also very important. Yeah, because you got to preserve documents, especially when more digitized space and more clean office space or home. You scan it, just transfer it to the cloud or your flash drive. You want to be a boomer about it, which I'm sure they're becoming obsolete really soon. That's a matter of when again. Is there everything's just cloud. All right, that's the thing. And even though I like cloud, but I've always been concerned with cloud. 'Cause I said, what if all it takes is one bad actor to get in there? They got access to so much more than a flash drive or even a Z drive or F drive, whatever letter drive we got. Okay. So that's always been my concern, even before this cloud thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, but that's the way to go." Okay, fine, that's the way to go. But I prefer to start. I still prefer saving backups on my local drive, keep it safe. I prefer doing that. Even that's the ones that cloud.
Yeah, you
Yeah, but
should.
that's just me personally. I'm not saying to copy me. I'm not an expert here, but I believe in file preservation and having multiple ways of accessing it. That's just me. All righty then. I'm gonna stop yammering and let's do that shameless plug-in. So check Kevin out. Check it out with Cycore Secure. All right, book a call, get on a call with him. His great team, and there's just many reasons for it. You just have a I don't know old security system that's getting outpaced because it's ever evolving. 10.0 was great last month. You need 11.0. You only need 12.0 down the line, or 15.0, whatever. Or they come up with just a brand new thing. Now just forget all these point O's. Right? It's changing. I mean, AI has changed so much, both for the better and some for the worse. Okay. That's my perspective of AI. I preach AI, but we also got to be aware of the bad, you know, the bad aspects of it, the potential, and some of it has already happened. Some of it has already happened. So I can't pretend like AI is going to be this all perfect tool. And AI makes a lot of mistakes. I've interacted with AI more. I've realized how much AI makes mistakes. So it's not flawless. And it's not going to replace humans anytime soon unless you choose to be obsolete. Yeah. If you choose to be obsolete, then yeah, it's going to replace you. Right? Gotta emphasize that message again. And so avoid AI or die in a career sense. Don't say literally, in a career sense. This is a very daring question, and I'm gonna press one more time on that. Yeah, so check him out. Check his social medias. I don't think he has that much listed here. He has an X, which I still call it Twitter. I refuse
Too.
to conform.
Me
I
too.
refuse to. And LinkedIn, of course. Of
Yes.
course, LinkedIn. That's where all the professionals are at.
Yep.
Of course. So check him out as well and just see what you got to offer, right? Especially if you have, especially if you got some resources and you want someone just to fill in your security gap, check them out. Anything else you want to add before I really wrap this up?
No. Thanks, Elias. It was a pleasure. I love. I love. I love the topics that you talk about. I think it's very unique. So, congratulations on your success thus far. With podcast.
Thank you. It's not easy, but you know what? It's just people like you and in my small, lovely audience I have, yeah, keep me going. Now I want to thank you really. And if for that, I got my own plugin. Subscribe, share, spread the word, like, donate if you want. It's only if you want. I don't do eBay. I don't do, oh, please, I need the money. No. I don't do that. If this podcast dies, it dies. That's it. I'll be fine with my life. You know, I love doing this, but I will be fine. Okay. So just subscribe, follow, share this with other people, and donate if you want. Okay. The only thing the donation is going to go to is just either better content and definitely upgrading some of my software. That's always going to just pure business. Okay. Being very transparent with you here. And there's going to be a couple of paywall exclusive episodes coming up, especially if it's spoiler rich. I mean, so much spoiler that I can't even, I don't think I should share with the public. Yes, you want to call me greedy? That's fine. I don't care. That's fine with me. Everybody does it. So leave me alone. So, from wherever or whenever you decide to listen to this podcast, you have a blessed day, afternoon, or night.